I was just outside with my dog Brewster, and I looked over, and there was a car parked in front of my building, and there was a woman driving in the driver's seat, and then in the passenger seat was her boyfriend, I think, or husband, and he was sucking his thumb. He was, 32, 33 years old, and I think this is more common than people think. I have a relative who did this. Last time I saw him, he was about 17, and he was still doing it. And when he was a kid, he was still doing it when he was like a kid, and his mom and dad were told by the shrink just to don't say anything, right? That doesn't make sense. You should step in and tell them, don't do that, that's inappropriate. Or certainly don't do it in public. So when he was 17, he would be doing it and like lift his shirt up or something, so that you couldn't tell. You could always tell that he was doing it. You can't hide that. Now the guy saw that I looked over and then he stopped, right? I didn't stare or anything. I wouldn't say anything. It's his thumb. It's his thumb. And I didn't say anything to my relative either. I'm like, it's your deal, it's not mine. But I just would hate to be going around sucking my thumb as an adult, because people would look at me and probably think, hey, he sucks on his thumb, he probably wants to suck on something else.
He's saying, let's move on, and then,
So, I just wouldn't do it. It'd be like being a bedwetter as an adult, You have to tell the kid or work with the kid and tell them, like, don't do that. If your kid is, I'm not a shrink, I'm not a child psychologist, but it seems to make sense. If they're doing something that's inappropriate, you need to talk to them, not just ignore it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Now, with that said, if you're looking for, like, a significant other, if you're a dude and your girlfriend tells you that she sucked her thumb until she was, 18 or something, that might be the person you want to hook up with. There's like this oral fixation thing. She loves smoking cigarettes. My friend Jinian, she loves to eat bananas. She did not suck her thumb as an adult, but she likes bananas, popsicles. She likes those frozen, like, long popsicle things, She likes those. She went through a whole list of things that she likes to suck on, but she never sucked on her thumb. I do think that this is more common than people think. Like, if you don't break that cycle when they're a kid, they'll just keep doing it. They will. It's like if you catch your kid jerking it, you have to explain to them, like, don't do that. You're going to grow hair on the palm of your hands. You don't want the kid jerking it when they're an adult, do you? I haven't done anything like that. Maybe once when I was a kid, and then I heard the rumor about going. I can't see very well, but it has nothing to do with that. I need glasses now. But I never did that. I never jerked it. And I certainly wasn't a thumb sucker. It's just weird seeing an adult that's doing that. It's like, there must be this thing about it's comforting. That's what I think. I think it's like comforting to the person. So they do it, but it's sort of inappropriate. Come on, if you're working in an office or something and you got to go to the bathroom and suck your thumb. If you do this, hey, look, I'm not going off on you, and I'm just saying, like, that just seems like a bad habit. Maybe you could use one of those products that makes your fingernail taste bad, so it'll remind you when you do it, you're not supposed to do it. In dog training, I tell this to people, like, when you acknowledge something that you're doing wrong, when you do something wrong, acknowledge it to yourself and then don't do it the next time. Just keep catching yourself doing it and saying, that's not what I'm supposed to do. So if you're a thumb sucker as an adult, and you don't want to be a thumb sucker, I assume, just acknowledge it and don't do it. And each time you catch yourself doing it, don't do it anymore, and say to yourself, I'm not supposed to do that, I don't want to do that. And maybe that stuff that tastes bad, you could put on your thumb or something, and then that would remind you, or even maybe just a rubber band around your wrist. Like when you get nervous or whatever reason you're doing it, you get anxious and you want to start sucking your thumb, you know, maybe even have that around your wrist to remind you, because it would be behavioral at that point, and you just start doing it. And then to increase, you know, the behavioral aspect of it, that you don't want to do it, some negativity, take the rubber band when you think and pull it back and, you know, slap it onto your wrist. I was just weird seeing that. I haven't seen that since I've seen my my relative do that, and I don't know if he's still doing that, but I don't know if it's more common in male people or females. I don't know. I think that I heard you hope chicks do it. If a chick was doing it, you know, it really wouldn't bother me. Oh, isn't that adorable? A 30-year-old that sucks her thumb. You know what I'm saying? I think most of the guys know what I'm saying. So if you don't want to do it, one thing that I'll say is, if you don't want to do something, we all have the power to quit. We all have the power to quit. I quit drinking years ago. But you have to sort of work at it and sort of think different about the activity that you're doing that you don't want to do. But if you're just like, screw it, it'll stop on its own. That's not the way that it happens. Obviously, my relative's parents were told the wrong thing, because you know, when they were told, when I was like, really? They told you to just, you know, the kid was like 8. The shrink told you to just ignore it and it'll go away? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I could have been a shrink. I could have been a doctor. I could have been a lot of things. But I'm a dog trainer. So if you want to discount everything that I say about thumb sucking, go right ahead. But as far as dog training goes, you should listen to everything that I say and use my methods. Who's this? Oh, it's Hemiwinkle. And use my methods exactly how I do. Clone yourself into me, and I do not suck my thumb.
You know, two different things.
I'm not like Jinian. I don't like to eat bananas a whole lot, popsicles. I will, but I'm not totally into it, okay? And I certainly don't, you know what I'm saying? None of that. None of that. But there's nothing wrong with that. That's another thing that I want to say. If you like to do that, you're a guy or a girl, hey, that's more power to you, seriously. Seriously, this is the truth. If you're a thumb sucker, like my page, I don't really care. I really don't. Whatever your sexual orientation is, I don't care. You're transgender, like my page. I joke around a lot. I do. I don't really care what or who somebody is, and this is sort of a weird time to be making this statement. But if you are on my YouTube channel or my Facebook page and you say anything derogatory towards any group of people, I'm removing you. You don't like somebody because of their race, their gender identification, you're gone. You are gone. I'm not going to put up with this shit. I cannot imagine living in somebody's shadow. It just sounds miserable. It does. When I moved to New York City, I had one offer to work for a sculptor that was well known and a painter, and both jobs I turned down because I'm like, I don't want to work for an artist cleaning their freaking brushes. You know? I don't want to do that. Oh, I work for so-and-so, and going to galleries or something and saying, oh yeah, I'm so-and-so's assistant, right? To try and get my foot in the door. I don't want to use somebody else's fame. I didn't want to do it, and I didn't do it. Fuck it. That just sounds miserable. I know a dog trainer that in the last year was going around talking about, I'm training so-and-so's dog. And the dog that he was training was somebody that's really well known, that's in the news a lot, especially lately. And he's going around talking about he's training so-and-so's dog, but then from what I understand, he was like dealing with the maid and maybe the wife or ex-wife, something like that. And it just seems pathetic, and people don't want you. They want their anonymity. They do. They don't like that. If that would get back to that guy, or somebody said, hey, have so-and-so train your dog, and then they see that you go around talking about like, oh, I trained, so-and-so's dog, and you're trying to, make yourself like bigger living under somebody's shadow, like, I'm good because of association. That seems fucked up. If the shoe was on the other foot, if I was somebody that was really well known and somebody did that to me, like went around, like I had somebody come and paint my house, right? And then I heard that they were going around saying, oh, I painted so-and-so's house, Peter Caine's house. I'd be like annoyed. Like, what are you trying to do? You're trying to make money off of my fame?